Cryptocurrency is like the store of value on a card you get when you go on a cruise. And when you get down to board the ship, you are going to acquire from the bursar on the ship or whoever it's going to be a card for transacting once you get on that ship for the entire time of your stay. So you're going to buy souvenirs, you're going to buy certain meals, you're going to buy cocktails, you're going to buy photos, all using this cruise card that isn't cash any longer. It's actually credits or value that's stored on this card with the cruise line.
What's up? Welcome to Same But Tech, a podcast where we explain the most talked about tech buzzwords, one analogy at a time. I'm Mohan, and today it's all about cryptocurrencies. All right, I imagine you've probably heard about cryptocurrencies. You might even be tired of hearing about cryptocurrencies, which is totally fair. Cryptocurrency, along with the blockchain, are like the two buzzy buzzwords buzzing in the buzz tech buzzosphere. And today we are talking about both. And I'm excited. You know why? Because cryptocurrencies, also known as cryptos, are all about the... Yup! Probably one of the most obvious analogies to understand today's buzzword is that cryptocurrencies are like digital moolah.
Show me the money.
Of course, there's so much more to cryptocurrencies than just that. And that's why you hear about them all the time. Because they really could disrupt our global monetary system.
I think cryptocurrencies have the potential to replace the transactional basis for what money's doing today.
Thank you. Before we start, a little primer. What are cryptocurrencies, or cryptos? Well, as a baseline, think of cryptos like digital cash, as in cash that only exists on computers and the internet. To use cryptos like Bitcoin, people send them back and forth to each other directly. Now, why is that unique? Well, that means there's no middleman, like a bank, helping you send those cryptos. That's why I like to say cryptos are like digital cash and not just digital money. I know what you're thinking. Without a central bank or an authority, how on earth do we keep track of who is sending money to whom and who owns what cryptocurrencies? Without a middleman, couldn't I just say I sent someone cryptos, even if I never really did? Good questions. We're going to get into all of that. In this episode of Same, we explore how a paperless currency and its underlying technology could represent the future of our monetary systems, the internet, and even government. In this episode of Same, we inquire, what the are cryptocurrencies and the blockchain?
I'm Jeanine Hightower-Sellitto. I'm the Managing Director of Operations at Gemini Trust. Gemini Trust is a cryptocurrency exchange as well as a custodian and offers the most secure place to buy, sell, and store your cryptocurrencies.
Good. We needed someone who knows what they're talking about. But can she explain it using an analogy?
Cryptocurrency can be thought of in a lot of ways, but I think one of the most current examples might be looking at something like a cruise ship card. You go on a cruise, people love cruising, they go down to Florida, they hope for good weather, and they turn over their credit card or turn over some form of payment to a cruise line, which gives them, in exchange, basically a card for purchasing things, whether at sea or during different stops during their cruise. So they're basically using a different form of payment during the entire time that they're on their vacation. And when they're done with their vacation, they cash out with the cruise line and move back to trading or using their fiat currency for a day-to-day basis.
Cryptocurrency, in simplest terms, is a digital or virtual currency. Now, a digital currency is basically just like fiat currency, like dollars, pounds, or euros. But digital currencies have this unique characteristic that, unlike all other currencies, digital currency has no physical form, as in no paper money, no coins. It's all digital, baby. That concept can mess with people's heads a little bit. It's still money, but you can't hold it in your hand. I get it. It makes it seem sort of worthless. But you gotta remember, our paper money isn't really worth anything either. Money or even gold, it's really just a symbol of the value that we all collectively decide to associate it with. That sound effect was what you get when you type in head explosion. Anyways, back to it. In Jeanine's cruise ship analogy, what's the point of a company like Gemini?
Gemini is the place where when you're boarding the cruise ship and you walk up to the kiosk and you have your American Express traveler's checks, or you have your cash, or you have your credit card, and you're transitioning it into the cruise line's tokens, chips, card, we're the participant that actually helps you convert to that different form of payment.
That's a great analogy and a great idea. Have you ever seen the movie The Social Network? The one about the creation of Facebook? Well, the twins that didn't quite get along with Mark Zuckerberg, well, they are the founders of Gemini and among the first Bitcoin billionaires.
$1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool?
$1 billion.
You might be wondering, how do you become a Bitcoin billionaire? Well, first, you have to acquire some cryptocurrency. And like other digital currencies, cryptos are only accessible in electronic form. So you need to get them at an online marketplace or exchange. That is where Gemini comes in.
Gemini's goal is to make crypto accessible to everybody. So things that are as simple as launching an app so people can get started, buying and selling and trading crypto with as little as $10 or $25. I think it's a big misnomer that people need to buy an entire Bitcoin to get involved in the crypto market. So allowing access points for customers at all levels to enter the crypto markets, as well as, store, save, and spend their crypto eventually.
So you guys potentially could be the ones that help usher this into kind of a mainstream potential currency.
That's what we're aiming to do.
Running on this analogy a little bit, so cryptocurrency is similar to the card you get on the cruise ship that has a certain amount of cash put onto it. But cryptocurrency itself, actually, the store of value can potentially change over time, right? So can you talk a little bit about how it is similar or is dissimilar from more of a gift card?
It's different in the way that cryptocurrencies, especially some of them today, can be quite volatile. So the price moves dramatically for some coins on a daily basis, some less so. So it would be like as if you went on your cruise ship and you put $1,000 onto your cruise card to purchase drinks and snacks and souvenirs and T-shirts, and you found out during your cruise that the price of the coin went up, and so therefore you bought all of the items you bought on your cruise ship at a lower price, or vice versa. The price went down, and so therefore you have to pay more when you're cashing out. So the price really is varying day by day, which is sort of indicative of sort of the state of the market where it's at today.
This is a pretty big deal with cryptos. They're insanely volatile. So why even use them? Well, because cryptocurrencies and the blockchain are pretty special.
In thinking about what would best kind of help describe or bring to life what crypto is about, more than just the speculative pieces, I started thinking about a little toy company called Lego. Cryptocurrencies are like Legos in a lot of different ways.
Ooh, love a good toy analogy.
Hi, I am Shawn Cheng. I am one of the partners at ConsenSys Labs, and we effectively invest and build in blockchain and crypto companies.
Shawn is the man. He's a dear friend and super duper smart. And only a smart person would use a toy analogy.
Yeah, I think it was Chris Dixon, right? That said it first. A lot of what we end up using in the technology space later on are what founders and tinkerers are building and playing with as toys. The crypto being used as a toy right now, people are using them in some really interesting ways. Cryptocurrency is super money.
It is super money. In fact, cryptos are super digital money that meet the standards of good paper-based money and a whole lot more. So what makes good money?
It is a store value. It has fungibility, where you can easily break it up into pieces, share it, divide it, pay for things.
Yes, honey. Money has all these key characteristics, including the ability to be accepted, transferred, and recognized, as well as durability and divisibility. Cryptos have similar attributes, and the crypto you've probably heard of the most is Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the first. It was introduced to the world in 2009 by a person or group of persons that went by Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, no one knows who Satoshi really was or is, but we know Satoshi was aiming to develop a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, not actually a currency. But in doing so, the homie made Bitcoin. One of the defining characteristics of cryptos beyond normal currencies is the use of cryptography, hence the name.
And so in order for something to be secured, there needs to be a system to secure it. And that's why the crypto within cryptocurrency gets to become more focused on the cryptography aspect.
These currencies use cryptography to verify and confirm transactions and to prevent double spend. You can think of this like a real-world signature or hidden serial numbers. But the kicker is, cryptocurrencies also rely on blockchain technology. What is blockchain technology?
So that's a great question.
All cryptocurrency transactions are recorded on a public, digital, cryptographically secure, unchangeable database. It's also called a ledger. That ledger is known as a blockchain. Those ledgers record transactions and balances. Think of it like a credit card transaction summary or literally your bank ledger. The difference is that this ledger is not private between you and your bank. Instead, whenever there's a transaction on a blockchain ledger, it is distributed to thousands of computers around the world to track those transactions and to make sure no one changes anything on that ledger.
So in order to secure the network, there's something called a node, and many systems have thousands of people that run these nodes, some on personal computers, some in very large warehouses all over the Nordics and the US and Asia.
A node's job is to host a copy of that blockchain ledger. And the fact that there are thousands of them doing that is this idea of decentralization.
Decentralization allows for certain cryptocurrencies to be more secure, some would argue, and nodes, or people that hold these records, essentially are saying that when a system is more decentralized, it's less susceptible to being manipulated by an individual, a small group of actors that are bad actors, a government or a major corporation, like an Equifax or the US government.
Removing the single point of failure is genius. It allows cryptos to exist without the control of banks or central authorities because the network actually maintains itself, which can actually be far more secure. Think about it. Is it easier to break into one computer or into thousands of computers?
The value of the network is its ability to say the transactions and the information that have been published on this blockchain haven't been changed. And that sort of trust in the network and ensuring that no one has manipulated the system is extremely valuable, because in a world where Equifax and Yahoo and Facebook and like company after company where our most sensitive information has been manipulated or stolen, we want to start to use systems that actually make you feel really, really secure.
And are those nodes actually verifying the blockchain or ledger transactions themselves?
Yes, that's right. And they are using multiple different attributes of confirming whether or not this chain of information, this chain of blocks, has never been manipulated.
Okay, to recap, cryptocurrencies are like digital cash you can use online. When you use that digital cash, it is recorded on a public ledger called a blockchain. That ledger is monitored by thousands of computers called nodes instead of one central bank. This, again, is the idea of decentralization. Cryptocurrencies are a perfect use case of blockchain technology. By leveraging it, we've given new life to something traditionally run by governments or banks, which was currency. The idea of decentralization, of consensus, they're core features of crypto networks and of blockchains. All of this hints at new transformative applications well beyond currency.
And right now, the hot topic within the crypto space is a subsector called decentralized finance, so DeFi. And this concept is, many people call it affectionately, money Legos. And this is essentially your ability to become as much or as little of a bank as you want to.
Think of DeFi as an open financial ecosystem where you and me can build financial tools using the blockchain without having to be a bank ourselves. These applications can then be combined, sort of like Legos, to build bigger or more feature-rich applications.
And so one of the big innovations on the Lego side that I actually think will be similar to the DeFi crypto space will be this thing called grip power. So Lego, what separated it from all the other block companies was this thing called grip power. So there's this little cylinder that makes every piece interoperable. And that piece allows for each block to stick to the other block tightly and securely. And the molds that they've used to create these blocks themselves, they essentially allow for you to build a level of customization and modularity that no other toy system has ever been able to accomplish.
The analogy with grip power is that there are certain blockchains that make it pretty easy to build applications and then connect them. Think of the blockchain as that flat Lego sheet that you stack all the other Legos on top of to build new things like skyscrapers or spaceships. But instead, you're making these decentralized financial instruments.
We're seeing this Cambrian explosion of DeFi products where peer-to-peer margin lending, so using your own assets as collateral to lend assets to one another, people being able to self-custody, people actually trying to offer new ways of doing business all around the world. Their versions of grip power might actually be some of the intangible value components of putting these pieces together around your decentralized identity.
A little heady, but this is all very, very cool. So, what's up in the future? Where's this ride taking us?
One of the biggest things I see that could happen with cryptocurrency is really what's out of this world. That space at some point is going to need a currency, a way of transacting. And it seems just very appropriate that there's a mathematically originated trustless system that could exist in this planet as well as interplanetary currencies. So that's my prediction.
I love that. So that you mean we're going to be spending money in space with other...
We're going to need to.
Other things.
There's going to need to be a unit of exchange in space.
3, 2, 1.
So there's dystopian and utopian things, I guess, depending upon where you end up in the future. You might call it one or the other, right?
Love that.
I think one of the craziest things will be for people to kind of organize around ideals and principles and be almost stateless. So what happens when you separate the power of money from our governments? Will governments actually serve their people and fear the people and the citizens that it's supposed to protect? Or will citizens have to fear their governments and be controlled by them? So blockchains and cryptocurrency, I think, will enable people that share the same ideology to come together, to fund the things that matter to them, to actually build an internet and a system to organize around, to implement change, to lobby for things that which they care about.
This idea of applying blockchain technology to things well beyond currency is super, super powerful. Ethereum is one blockchain that helps developers build those decentralized applications, which are also called dApps.
Ethereum is one type of blockchain that's focused primarily on building a decentralized internet or web. So if Bitcoin was primarily focused on money, Ethereum asks the question essentially of, well, what happens when you apply that technology to bits and bytes? So in creating an app or a website or other use cases, what does it mean for you to build not only an unstoppable internet that is censorship proof, but one that which is permissionless and allows for anybody to participate versus having gatekeepers decide whether or not you can come in or out of the Play Store or the App Store or use a certain type of language to write your application. Ethereum is really about democratizing how people can build and participate in the internet.
And if you pursue this thought, it could lead to systems that are almost like religion.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, you have a lot of tribalism, people that have split up into multiple different factions. You know, Satoshi, and even before that, e-money with David Chaum or eCash or some of these other systems. If they are similar to that of the Torah or the Pentateuch, or even the Bible itself, right? These white papers have kind of birthed an explosion of different types of interpretations of how people are thinking about how to implement what is right and what is wrong and what they actually believe is good for the world. People are having to reconcile what they actually believe within their system along with the technology itself. Similarly to how what precious / religious texts may be advising folks to live, and people are comparing and contrasting. Hey, does this actually have the same type of weight and validity of how I've chosen to live and move in this world in my own life?
Oh man, did we do it? Did we figure out crypto and blockchain? I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us. But of course, we just scratched the surface. There's a lot more you can dig into in cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and crypto networks. And if you want to focus on the concept of decentralization. The idea behind decentralization in blockchain-based networks is about not having a central authority. Instead, you rely on a peer-to-peer network. We spoke about this a few times in regards to banking and finance. With decentralization, individuals will have direct control over their currency without a middleman taking a fee. Decentralization would mean no central authority collecting your personal data, no imposed terms and conditions, no gatekeepers, no censorship, and no fees to use the platform. I mean, think of a decentralized ride-sharing app where we match riders and drivers without Uber or Lyft taking a cut. Now take that a step further. Take it to countries. A decentralized nation is no longer necessarily led by one single individual or one single government. Instead, it could be led by a community. Look, I know that sounds far-flung, but it's really not that big of a leap to go from decentralized money, cryptocurrencies, to a leaderless government. And that's not to say decentralization is a rebellion against government or against big companies or against moderation. I think that's a simplistic mischaracterization. Instead, the way I think about it, decentralization is this monumental shift in power. This isn't just a cruise ship card. It isn't just Legos. This isn't incremental technology. Blockchain and crypto networks may lead us to reimagine our entire sense of agency. and to blow up a system central to how we value ourselves, our work, how we build companies, how we build governments and countries, the internet, everything. This was how the internet was started. And I believe that this is where the internet is going. Today's episode was written and hosted by me, Mahan Zanuzzi, produced by Karine Javier and Lee Schneider, exec produced by Steph Wolf, music by Ouvra. Thank you to our guests, Shawn Cheng and Jeanine Hightower-Sellitto. You can find more Same on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your ear candy. Thanks for listening. Spread love.
This episode was brought to you in part by BCG Digital Ventures. BCGDV builds revolutionary new businesses with the world's most influential corporations. Learn more at bcgdv.com.
How do your kids like Legos?
They love Legos.
Do they store value in them?
They do. They're using Duplos right now, so they have I think a long way to go before they come to the end of seeing them as very valuable.
Awesome. Cool. I think that's our episode. What do you guys think? Shawn, I think you were potentially the best guest we've ever had.
What? We'll say after the edit.
Yeah.
You never know.
Lee, did you hear that? You're on the spot.